What's up guys, my name is Julie and this is the Curated Curvy, where I bring you along for the journey as I attempt to create the curated wardrobe of my dreams with these two hands. And today I have for you all my very first version of the Sew the Look. Now, before we begin, this is a concept that I have seen over on Whitney of Tomcat Stitchery's YouTube channel, which I will have linked in the description box below. And I've always been super inspired by it and wanted to give it a go for myself, and so I did. Let's talk about it. So if you don't know already, I do spend a lot of time on Pinterest pinning things and garnering inspiration. And the other day I was kind of in the sewing room trying to figure out what really did I feel like sewing next. And I thought about this image that I have saved in my Pinterest board. And I was thinking initially that I wanted to make something similar to the skirt, but then I was like, well, if I make that skirt, what would I wear with it? Because I feel like the skirt and the top pairing in this image is absolute perfection. And so I figured, why not have a go at attempting to make both? And so I did, and I am pretty stoked with the final results. Now, unfortunately, I could not find whoever this post belongs to, although her images are all over Pinterest, and unfortunately no one is giving credit for the account that it came from. So if you're familiar with this post and you know who it's from, do leave it in the comments below so that I can properly give credit to the original owner of the image. Now, into the details. The first thing we'll talk about, since you can see best right now in the view, is the shirt. So in the image, she is just wearing a plain cropped t-shirt. Upon a little further, closer review, one of the things that I noticed about the t-shirt was that the sleeve is a little bit wide at the cuff, and the shirt is cropped, the edge is left finished, and it kind of has a wide neckline. Also, the shoulders are dropped a bit. So I went in my pattern stash to see what I had that could give me this, and I went back and forth on so many different patterns, thinking if I would alter something or change something to get the perfect pattern, because I don't have a pattern that would give me that exact shirt. Now, the pattern that I ultimately settled on was, let me grab it for you, Simplicity 9337. Now, I settled on this pattern ultimately because it is a loose fitting drop shoulder t-shirt. So in those respects, I wouldn't have to alter anything, whereas with all of my other patterns, I'd have to either add ease or drop the shoulder or do different things to give me those main attributes. So it's a loose fitting drop shoulder t-shirt. It does have a bit of a wide neckline. This is a unisex pattern, so it has a lot of ease into it. It comes with long sleeves or short sleeves, and so that ticked all of the boxes for what I needed. With this pattern, my size would put me at a size large. However, for the finished garment measurements of the chest of a size large, it is 51 inches. My bust is a bust of 44, so that would give me 7 inches of wearing ease, which is the amount of space between your body and the garment. And that is just way too much wearing ease for me on any given day. So I sized down to a size medium, and I feel like the boxiness and the loose fit of it is absolutely perfect. Now, the big thing that I did change about the pattern were the sleeves. So her sleeves, they taper down, and it looks like they're straight, but they're just all around wide. And I don't know what I was thinking at the time, or I probably wasn't thinking. I was just thinking, how could I get that sleeve? And for me, if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that I am a fan of the good old-fashioned slash and spread. So I got the sleeve pattern and I slashed and spread to oblivion. Unfortunately, it kind of got crinkled in my trash can. I did trace it off, so I have a better, nicer copy of it. But this is basically what I had when I was done with slashing and spreading the seam. So I kept the, so I kept the original arm side the same, and then I just added a ton of volume and length into the actual sleeve. In terms of length, I added 2 inches. So I added volume and I added length into the sleeves. Now, initially when I sewed up the sleeves, they were absolutely gigantic. So I did have to go back in and take out 4 inches out of this bell. And I think if I do it, or I think not if I do it again, because I'm going to do it again. I think when I do it again, I am going to go out and take another inch out of the bell, just so that it's not so wide. And I also did go back and I shortened the sleeve by about an inch because they're pretty long. But I absolutely love this t-shirt. I feel like it is the most ridiculous version of a basics piece that one could possibly have in their closet, and I am 1000% here for it. And I feel like it is giving me the vibe of the inspiration image, just not exactly the inspiration image. Now, let's talk about the skirt. So the skirt is probably the thing from this look that I was the most excited about, and my wheels were turning immediately. So as you can see, she has a panel denim skirt, kind of it's not, hers is a little bit more of a fitted skirt and not so A-line. I went into my pattern stash and I pulled out Simplicity. I want to say it's $86.99. Now I have sewn this pattern once before, and so I was pretty familiar with it, and I know that it's a really easy, really quick thing to make. In order to get me closer to the inspiration picture, what I did with the skirt was the front, like the skirt consists of 3 pieces. It's a really easy skirt. So it's your front, it's your left front, your right front, and then your back piece, and then your waistband. That's it. So again, really, really easy to make. Me though, gotta make things complicated. I wanted to have those seams down the front of my skirt so that I had a place for top stitching and just a chance to add those details. So I used the dart of the seam to create a cutting line. So straight down the middle of the dart, using the grain line as like my positioning for my ruler to keep the line straight, I just drew a line straight down each of the left front and the right front panels and turned the one piece into 2 pieces. I had to add back a 1/2 inch seam allowance along both of those edges, and I did that when I cut it out so that when I sewed them together it wouldn't be too small. I did leave the back as one piece, and I attached the waistband as usual. Now for this pattern, it does call for 3 buttons along the front for your like finishing. I didn't do that. I just used hook and eyes on the waistband, and that is what is keeping the skirt closed, and it fits absolutely perfectly. Now the only issue with that is that when I'm walking, so right now the panels are just kind of like opening and you get a little bit of leg exposure. So ultimately what I am going to do is I'm going to go back to the skirt panel and I'm going to sew on a snap on the inside of the flap, just so that when I'm walking and moving, I'm not flashing as much leg as I'm flashing right now. But ultimately, I think it is absolutely perfect. I love this outfit. I love this skirt. I feel like it's just kind of like chic and grown up, a little bit elevated, but still really relaxed. Okay, so a few more things on this skirt. As I mentioned, it was supposed to be closed with the 3 buttons, but I omitted those and I used 2 snaps. So I have one sewn here at the edge and then another sewn here to anchor it, and it's holding it up just fine. After I sewed that snap into the front placket, I feel like it would be like an absolutely perfect fit. I did end up taking a substantial hem from this garment. Now I believe when I looked at the pattern, it was like your hem could be something like 1 1/4 inches. I think I took up a hem of 3 inches. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I folded up 3 inches and then I sewed that down and I finished it on the inside. So that's just something to be noted. I usually do like my things to fit a little bit longer, but I wanted this to be like a true midi length, and I really, really like where it's heading. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything about the construction of this skirt pattern. It is one that I'm really happy that I was finally able to fit properly, because I have tried to sew this skirt in the past and I sewed it too small and it just wasn't working well. Now, before we conclude this video, I do want to show you the pattern pieces so you can get a feel of what I'm saying when I talk about splitting them so that I could turn the front panels of the front sections of the skirt into a panel skirt. So let me grab those pattern pieces and I'll show you that really quickly. Okay, so here you see I have the 2 pattern pieces now. I don't know if you can see right here, but here was where the dart was. So on the dart that was supposed to be for my size, I just cut it and then went all the way down. So if I were to join those 2 back together, the pattern piece would look like that. So like I said, I just cut along that dart and then all the way down through the length of the skirt. And then the 1 pattern piece became 2 pattern pieces so that I could do my top stitching and get that panel skirt look that I was going for. Okay, and I think that's all the fun details of this sew the look. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I feel like I was pretty successful. What do you say? Until next time, stay beautiful and make great things. Bye.